Next step is to get in, make sure you get a project going. You know, start putting your files in the right place. I've left the one that I'm going to bring in not in my file, but I'll bring it in later. So I'm going to go new here. I'm dealing with a standard part. You need to make a part so you can bring in your frame and then put your frame out to an assembly. You're going to do your AutoCAD import into a 3D, in this case, a 3D sketch and not a 2D sketch. It will open with a 2D sketch. Now, where this part is, I'm going to see if I can do right away a file, save as, and if you look at now this save as, it should give me some sense of where I want to go. I'm going to go here, 3D frame generator. Save. I'm going to save that there. I'm going to call it part 1. Say yes, and I want to change my project now if I could. So file. We want to kind of be in the right project, but I'll keep going. At this point, you've ended your sketch. You're going to create a new 3D sketch. You're going to bring in AutoCAD. You're going to know where it's at. Hopefully it was there. It was an Inventor. It was a drawing. It was a 2D drawing. It was 3D frame generator. It should come in correctly with the Z up. And realize that Inventor kind of actually throws a little bit of odd stuff at you. So keeping track of your coordinate system is always important, and your scale. It's important to know whether you're in inches or feet and what you're setting up. We're going to go ahead and bring the import. We'll see whether it... We're hitting next. We're going to finish and hope. There you have it. Finish your sketch. That's all you've got to do at this point. File, save as. This is putting it out into iPart 2 and frame generator 3. I'm going to save 5. Yes. Now you're going to go into an assembly. I guess in this case, I'm going to double check that I've got it saved by calling it part 2 as well. Close that up. Go to the project. Let's get our current project correct. Done. So I hope that's when we say new. This time we're going to bring in a assembly. I'm going to place a part. Hopefully that part will be in the right spot. 0, 0, 0. Everything's good to go. Done. Front, which in turn turns out to be top. If you look at here, that's really what the Z that you're used to. Your next step here, you're going to right away go File, Save As, start to give them names, but Assembly 1 is fine. It's in the 3 generator. Now you can go to your environments, and you can actually go to Design here and go to Insert Frame Members. In this case, I'm going to make them all the same. Later on, you're going to see that you're not going to necessarily do that. All kinds of different members. I'll go with flat bars here. Orientation, back and forth. I'm going to select a member here. Guessing at this point, I presume they're millimeters. I'm going to grab my members. And notice how it is filling in the members as we go. Kind of going around the pike here. thing that's going to be left once we're done with this is to go ahead and do the trimming up at the members. So I'm going to hit apply here, hit OK, and it's going to go through and make a whole bunch of members. A different part for each one. I'll hit cancel here. Now all we're left with is some extending, trimming, etc. So I'm going to try to see what we've got here. I'm going to try to do miters on the end. This and this, and hit OK. I'm going to try to do, if we would, lengthen or shorten. I'm going to select the extension type to lengthen this member. Sketch it, move it up 3 inches and see what happens here. That doesn't do it for me, a little bit far, but we'll live with that. Now we won't. Let me just do a couple of trims here. We're going to trim maybe we'll trim the other way. So by the time you get through here, we'll try the miters first. You see you're kind of having it automate what you were doing when you did the sketching on AutoCAD. I'll do a miter here. And let's try to do some trim to frame. Try to trim the frame. Alright, so we're going to leave it at that. I'll frame up the rest of this, and that's essentially you're going to see where until you master this, there may be some issues with getting contacts and kind of, but that sense of how quickly it is to generally generate the frames you can see. You can eventually go into each of these and do what you can do. In this case, I'm going to try to do a notch, fill out the last of the 10 minutes and do a notch of these frame members. I'm going to grab this one here and then this one afterwards, hit OK, and it should notch that one. Do the same thing here. I'm going to do a notch, this one, this one. Just kind of, these are steel bars, so it really, it's not doing anything of great consequence, but we're just keeping from having overlap and interferences. A notch this one and this one. And in fact, we'll try one more of the trim to frame, because in all reality, perhaps we grabbed the wrong one. Doesn't like that. So you can start to see how you accumulate issues and problems with this. What you can eventually do is go back in and look at the individual members. So we're going to right away go ahead and say File, Save As. We're in our Assembly 1. That's good to go. Doesn't like that. So we're going to go ahead and Save As Assembly 2 and then very quickly figure out what's going on here. So that's the end of that. I'll see if I can pause this and get the last little bit here, which is to bring in the assembly. So we fit that into the 10 minutes. I'm going to hit a pause, bring up a drawing, IDW file, and then bring in a view. Finish this out, File New. We're going to go for the IDW, hit OK. It's as easy as this. Base. Tell it what model you want. We're going to grab Assembly 2, say Open. Basically front, current, top, perhaps. Yes, we're going to go ahead and yes, we'll go ahead and go with the default, say OK, see what comes in. There you go, and now we can go ahead with our projected view. We're done. Thanks for listening.